OMAHA, NEB. The celebration began 9.7 seconds early or a year or two late, depending on one's point of view. Kansas Jayhawks still had a little bit of basketball to play, but the outcome did not hinge on any of it. After a season in which this never seemed a likely outcome, they knew for certain the Final Four would be theirs. Coach Bill Self waited until the final buzzer before demonstrating what it all meant to him. He turned toward his bench along the sideline at CenturyLink Center and thrust his arms in the air, once, twice, 3 times. No kidding. Once for 2016, the Elite Eight loss to Villanova, once for 2017, the Elite Eight loss to Oregon, and once for an 85-81 overtime victory over a coach and a program that almost never loses when it reaches this stage of the NCAA tournament, Mike Krzyzewski's Duke Blue Devils. The funny thing about all of this, Self insisted later, is that none of the consequence of this game seeped into his team's consciousness until it was decided. NCAA Midwest Region Final? Maybe so. Kansas went through the usual Elite Eight dance on the day before such a critical game, the private arena practice, the press conference and breakout interviews for the coach and all 5 starters. Final Four, ranking the Jayhawks and the other teams still standing. They don't do that stuff for regular season games, or even the earlier rounds of the NCAAs. Somehow they were able to view it as just another very big game against an incredibly talented and highly accomplished team with one of the great traditions in the sport. I really think one thing that helped us today was, we didn't play to go to the Final Four. We played to beat Duke, Self told reporters. I think so many times when you get in this game, regardless if you tell your players to be loose or not, you play because you want what's after. This was not one of those games. Our guys all know their guys all know us. We played to try to win that game. Maybe that was the secret, because neither of the 2 most recent Elite Eight appearances went anything like that. In 2016, All-American forward Perry Ellis shot 1 of 5 from the field and scored 4 points as Villanova sprinted past in the final minutes and won 64-59. In 2017, Kansas could find no help for All-American Frank Mason and fell to Oregon 74-60. Bender, how each Final Four team can win the national title. This year's All-American, Devonte Graham, who played in both of those Elite Eight defeats, was not brilliant Sunday afternoon. He scored 11 points and passed for 6 assists. There were so many wonderful things going on around him, though. Forward SVI Mike Krzyzewski accepted the assignment to guard Duke super freshman Marvin Bagley and held him to 9 field goal attempts, nearly 5 below his average, and posted a 10-point, 11-rebound double-double. Wing Gerald Vick scored 14 points and was typically dynamic on defense. Big Udoka Azubuike and Silvio De Souza combined for 13 points and 18 rebounds. And shooting guard Malik Newman continued his superstar march with 32 points and the game-breaking 3-pointer, off an amazing touch pass from Vic with less than 2 minutes left in overtime. It was so much different this time. It feels unbelievable. We've had a lot of big wins since we've been here, but that may be the second best win we've had in my tenure here, Self said. That was a big boy game, heavyweight bout. We fortunately caught them late with a pretty good right, because it could have gone either way. Bracket, review the madness to transact the business of beating Duke, more so than attempting to improve upon Self's 2-7 record in Elite Eight games. The Jayhawks had to find a way to control Bagley without having a body anywhere near as big to insert into that matchup. The obvious choice was Mike Krzyzewski, at 6'8", 205 pounds, but he almost always had company. Bagley typically dominates the area in a 12-foot arc around the goal, which meant Ku could clog that space with the 280-pound Azubuike or 245-pound De Souza. I would just say all the time he was on the court, I was with him, Mike Krzyzewski said. Just pushing him a little so he could feel me every time. Don't let him go everywhere without me just putting my hand on his body so he would get tired and stuff. I was just doing it the whole game so he didn't feel free going around the court, with its center staying close to the rim. Ku dared Duke's big Wendell Carter to shoot from the foul line or try to make a play. Carter, though, wasn't in all that much for Duke. He picked up a second foul with 8:36 left in the first half, a third with 4:25 left and then a fourth with still 16:06 to play in the game. His replacements, Marcus Bolden and Javin Delorier, were no help in luring the defensive help away from Bagley. And neither were shooters Grayson Allen, Gary Trent and Trevin Duval, who shot a combined 6 of 25 on threes. There never was any reason to abandon planning. Well, it's the way the game is, Krzyzewski said. Obviously, you have a kid that's averaged a double-double the whole year and he just wasn't able to play his game. I'm not blaming the referees or anything. But just, it's disruptive. March Madness, when is the Final Four? Even with Carter limited, Duke had 2 chances to seal the game in the final 30 seconds. But they allowed an uncontested three-pointer from Mike Iliadic with 27 seconds left, and then Allen worked for the final shot, with Newman giving no ground, and his fadeaway to win it rolled off the rim twice but fell away, and Mike Iliadic slapped it away before Bagley could tip it in the goal. Kuz's post-game celebration had to wait another 5 minutes, but it came soon enough. "It's hard to describe, man," Graham said. "The last 2 years, it's heartbreaking. And you come back and you get another